Howdy, my totally is always Tubular gamers, and we are back for another Nintendo game ranking video. And today's is going to be on Pokemon, but it's going to be a little different when it comes to Pokemon. See, I love Pokemon, always grew up with Pokemon, wanted to do something Pokemon. However, I haven't played a lot of the main games, especially on the handhelds, and I haven't really played a whole bunch of the spin-offs either. So I was really scratching my head. I was like, what's a way I can talk about Pokemon? What's a list I could do? And then I was looking and I was like, I've actually played every Pokemon game on the Nintendo 64. Some of these I played a bunch when I was a kid even, and I'm actually decently familiar with all of these games to the point that I could rank them. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to be ranking all of the Nintendo 64 Pokemon games from worst to best. Now, there was no main Pokemon game on the Nintendo 64, to be clear. All of these are spin-offs. They're all spin-off Pokemon games, so if you wanted me to look at something in the main series or another spin-off series, apologies. This is the best I could do at the moment based off of what I've played and experienced. I have played all of these games, and I do actually have some really fun memories with a couple of these games. So we're going to be ranking these games, based off a couple different things. How well have they aged? Have they aged just awfully and there's no point in coming back? Or are they actually super fun even nowadays and totally worth revisiting? Is it still a good time? Or, is it just kind of a gimmicky waste of time and a stupid spin-off? Well, that's what we're about to find out. As always, let me know in the comments your favorite game or some fun memories you have, or any fun Pokemon lists that you think I could potentially do in the future. That's always great. Like, share, sub, comment, all that great stuff. Anyway, what do I think is the weakest of the Nintendo 64 Pokemon games? I think it's Hey You Pikachu, which is definitely the most interesting game on this list, and one of the most interesting games not only on the Nintendo 64, but Pokemon's history in general. It is very gimmicky, but it certainly has its charm. It sees you as a kid given a Pikachu by Professor Oak, and you have to take care of it and live with Pikachu, and you just kind of go on little adventures and do some fun mini games with Pikachu, and it's incredibly simple. The game was incredibly unique because it required this microphone that had to be attached to the controller, which was, I guess, ahead of its time, maybe? This microphone really is essential. You can't do anything in this game without the microphone. So from an accessibility standpoint, this is obviously at the bottom of the list. You need an extra peripheral for a game console that is quite old now. You can't even use it on an emulator. You have to have original hardware with this microphone. So yeah, you talk to Pikachu through the microphone. It's pretty simple and there's not all that much to it. You get to go and do some little activities and mini games with Pikachu and just kind of hang out with them. I guess that was the big appeal, is that you get to hang out with Pikachu. You always are talking to Pikachu, you set phrases, it doesn't just respond to anything you say. And there are some parts where, yeah, it can be pretty humorous. I remember trying as a kid where I'm just yelling at Pikachu for 5 minutes straight to do something and he just won't do it. But I mean, that kind of comes with the technology. At the very least, these mini games are pretty cute. I mean, you can go fishing with Pikachu, you can have him hit a piñata, you can hang out with him in the crib, you can go Poliwag hunting. Yeah, the gameplay is pretty shallow and it does get kind of repetitive and tedious, especially after even a couple hours of play. I guess the game goes on for 365 days, then pretty much starts over. This game really feels like it was made for small children, pre-elementary school children, really small children. There's just really not much to this gameplay, and really this game's just kind of a footnote, especially when it comes to microphone voice-based gaming. I mean, there's just not all that much to it. And you don't need me to tell you that this game is obviously very gimmicky, but hey, at least Pikachu throws his shit at you. I mean, that's pretty funny, right? So number 4 on our list is Pokemon Puzzle League, which is a really interesting Pokemon game, especially looking back all these years later. It is actually pretty interesting. The game is obviously a puzzle game, and it is basically a Panel de Palm clone. Now, if you don't know what that is, that was a series of puzzle games released usually only in Japan by Nintendo in the 80s and 90s. It was released in America on the Super Nintendo as Tetris Attack also. In fact, this game originally was Panel de Palm Nintendo 64, however, it was changed to Pokemon near the end. Now, these types of puzzle games, I'll be real, they aren't really my cup of tea. I'm not very good at them. I'm not going to act like I'm very good at them, and I've just never been a massive puzzle guy. And so yeah, when it comes to me, I'm not going to rank this game all that high or think all that highly of it, since I'm not a big fan of the general gameplay. I mean, I can tell it's good here, and it's obviously a really solid puzzle game. The game features a lot of stuff from the anime, and it's the stuff I watched and loved, by the way, as a kid, so that's always cool to see, and it definitely gives a little nostalgia rush. You got to arrange the blocks and mix and match them as fast as you can, and you know, there's a bunch of different characters you can play as, and the gameplay, it isn't the hardest to understand, but again, it's really not my stuff. And you know, you can play this game multiplayer, and that's really where I've had the most fun with it. Is I would have a little bit of fun with some friends in multiplayer, even if it ends with me getting my ass beat every single time. But there's also tons of people that love the Panel de Palm series, so there's that too. But again, it's probably just me. Alright, so number 3 on our list is Pokemon Stadium, which is also another really interesting piece of history for Pokemon. It was actually the game to be the very first time that there were 3D renderings of Pokemon, and it was also pretty gimmicky. And you know, graphically, the game actually did look pretty good, especially for the 64. It was cool to see all the moves in 3D and see the Pokemon rendered in 3D. I know it's obviously not a big deal now. We got the mainline games on console, but hey, for the time, it was cool. But as a game, Pokemon Stadium is pretty meh, to be honest. Pokemon Stadium really is just all about the battles, the stadium. I mean, in the show, them battling in the stadium was a pretty big deal, and this game really just is a bunch of battles. In fact, a majority of this game is just battles. See, there's no open world, there's no storyline, there's no characters, there's no stakes, there's really nothing but the battles. You just do battling. The main gimmick of the game was that you would hook up your Game Boy to the controller and you could import your Pokemon from Generation 1 into the game to fight, and that really was the main gimmick. And you know, your friend could hook up their Game Boy and you could battle on the TV instead of on the Game Boys, I guess. Or you could use it in the single player in the stadium mode where you just battle. There's 4 cups to it, and that essentially was 80 battles, and that was pretty much it. And if you didn't have a Game Boy to hook up, you could use the rental Pokemon, where every Pokemon was level 100 and had some interesting training, and I'll leave it at that. It really wasn't good training. And that's pretty much it. There were also 9 mini-games, which is why this game was even that high on the list, because as a kid, I had fun with the mini-games. I've had fun with the mini-games with friends. I mean, these mini-games aren't amazing. I mean, I'd say they're like as good as Kirby 64's mini-games, but I mean, they can actually be kind of fun. They bring some decent fun to this game. It's not Mario Party, but I mean, it's better than nothing. Really, this game is just more interesting for its history than actually playing it, it seems, nowadays. So in the number 2 spot, we have Pokemon Stadium 2, which is incredibly similar to Pokemon Stadium 1. In fact, it's almost the same, actually, but there is one key difference. Pokemon Stadium 2 added Generation 2. Now, Generation 2 is a really, really big deal, and you know, at least it was a huge deal to me back when it came out. I mean, I love Generation 2, and yeah, this game was just all about adding Generation 2. You can still hook up your Gen 1 games, but you could also hook up, you know, Pokemon Gold and Silver, and I think Crystal, maybe. You can do battles with your friends, you can do it in the stadium mode, and you just do battle, or you can rent Pokemon and do that. And I mean, the battling was fine enough. I mean, yeah, Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 are pretty repetitive since you just do a bunch of battles, and all that extra stuff that makes a Pokemon game, you know, a Pokemon game are gone. But I mean, at least the game looks better. It definitely looks better, and it sounded better. The sound was kind of crap in the original, but it sounds better, I can give it that. There are now 12 minigames, and you know, these minigames are definitely better than what the first game offered, and this is the game that I do have some memories with some friends playing the minigames, especially when I was younger, just having a blast with these minigames. I mean, I know that you look back now and you're like, wow, these are pretty shallow, these are pretty basic, there's not all much to them, but I mean, I had fun with them, and I have some good memories with these minigames, and even nowadays I'll be like, you know, why not, it's a party, let's just play a little bit of Pokemon Stadium 2 minigames. I mean, there's that to it, I like a couple of them. And I really feel like I'm low-key grasping at straws here just trying to talk about Pokemon Stadium 2 because it's just so similar to the first game. I mean, it's basically just the first game with second generation in it. It's better by default, but there's not all that many different changes or improvements to the game at all. I mean, it's just kind of there, and I wouldn't really recommend either of them nowadays. I mean, yeah, there's just not much to it. But in the number 1 spot, I have a game that brings a big old smile to my face, and that is Pokemon Snap. I freaking love the original Pokemon Snap and have no problem recommending Pokemon Snap to anyone that likes Pokemon or really just video games in general, because Pokemon Snap is one of the most chill, friendly, fun, cute experiences you will have not only on the N64, but in gaming in general. If you somehow don't know the phenomenon of Pokemon Snap, you play as Todd from the anime and you get sent by Professor Oak to take pictures of Pokemon. Basically, the game is a rail shooter. You're on a set path. You can't move around. You look around and you just take pictures. You just take lots of pictures. There's 63 different Pokemon in the game, all from Generation 1, and you just take as many nice little pictures as you can. And it sounds pretty basic. You're like, okay, it's a little photography game, but there is a little bit more to it than that. You do have some tools at your disposal. You can throw some apples to distract the Pokemon or have them eat. You can throw pester balls to like stun them or wake them up. You even get a Poke Flute to literally wake up some Pokemon or make them dance. You can even speed up the damn tram later if you want. And you know, there are some puzzle elements in there, like you have to get certain Pokemon to do certain things to either get them in a nice pose to take a picture or to have them change completely, as you can evolve Pokemon, which does add a nice little puzzle element to it. These levels aren't very long either. There's only a handful of them, but they're incredibly replayable, and you can do different things every single time to try to get different positions, different poses, or have the Pokemon change entirely. And you get ranked based on the pictures you take as well. You get points assigned to them, like if there's a bunch of Pokemon in one picture, if the Pikachu is on a stump or doing something crazy. There's a bunch of different categories for the pictures. And the game is just incredibly chill to play. It's fun to just sit down and, you know, take the pictures. I mean, there's no real stakes. It's like the levels aren't very long. If you miss something, oh well, you got to replay a couple minutes at most. I mean, it's not much to it, and then you can probably get some different pictures on the side anyway, and then you do get the speed up later in the game, so it's like if you really are just missing like one thing, you can just speed through the whole level to get the one thing you're missing. And all of this leads to an incredibly replayable experience, because Pokemon Snap, yeah, it's not that long. You can finish it on your first time in maybe a few hours, and then if you replay, you could probably get a picture of every single Pokemon by like hour 2. But it is incredibly replayable. I mean, I've sat down and I've played through this game dozens of times. I loved it as a kid. I love playing it all the time. I love just getting pictures, trying to get every single different picture of Pikachu or all the singing Jigglypuffs or all these other fun little memories I have. It's just very replayable. I have a ton of nostalgia. There's obviously some bias here, but I really do think that there's really no other game like this except the new Pokemon Snap, which I wish I could find some way to do a video on that game, because that game rules. That game is amazing and blows this game out of the water. But Pokemon Snap, it's still a classic. It's nothing to scoff at. I still recommend it to anybody that hasn't tried it all these years later, especially if you like Pokemon. It's cute, it's charming, it's friendly, it's easy to play, it's easy to finish, it's not long, it won't take much time, and it's very replayable if you do enjoy it. It has some great music, it's got some nice graphics, and yeah, it's a pretty good game overall. And that's really it for this list. I know it's not the longest list or the most in-depth, and a lot of it was just Pokemon Snap, but I mean, I wanted to talk about Pokemon, man, and this was one of the only ways it seemed that I could. I mean, if you have any other suggestions in the comments, let me know. If you made it to this part of the video, bricks as always, that's our secret keyword. Let me know your favorite picture in Pokemon Snap too. That's a good one. That's a good one. Anyway, I hope everyone has a good day. Stay safe, stay warm. It's getting chilly out there. See you later, everyone. Bye-bye.